taking a group photo behind me. That's nice. I've come to a conclusion. I really love actually photographing these coastal places. And it doesn't matter if it's harbors or if it's beaches or anything, but as long as it's coastal. And it must have to do with my childhood, because I literally grew up in a fishing village and we were fishing all the time. So, I mean, it must have to do something with that. Yeah. Anyway, I've got a few messages lately, especially on emails and DMs, asking me for recommendations about cameras and lenses specifically. But this is a hard one, because one, I don't know what you like to shoot. I can only assume, and you're not supposed to assume things, but if I were to assume, I would guess you're shooting stuff like I am. Otherwise, you wouldn't probably be here, unless you actually think my thoughts are valid to some degree, which makes you weird, and I like you. And two, I really don't want to be the guy that gets blamed when you spend your savings and end up hating the thing. But I thought, what I can do is tell you how I found my perfect setup and hopefully point you in the right direction. Maybe. Hopefully. Yeah. Let's do some shooting. So I saw a comment on one of Greg's videos, Distant Media. I think it was the challenge video we did recently. And there was this guy saying he thought it was funny seeing me on Greg's video. And he called me Mr. OM5. I don't mention the OM5 that much, do I? The OM system OM5. The OM system OM5. OM5, Micro Four Thirds, OM system OM5. OM system OM5. Pairs super well with the OM5. So I will start off with the camera because I think that's the most boring part. And it's not scientific in any way, but it do help if you somewhat know what you like or don't like in a camera, or what you want or don't want in a camera. That is something you will grow into as well, but if you know a small reference point, you at least know where to kind of guide yourself. For me, size mattered. Yes, I said it. I literally quit photography back in 2018 because of the size of the Nikon D5200. And I think I only had a kit lens left at that point because I sold everything off. And that was too big. That was too hefty for me. So yeah, I wanted a lightweight, compact camera. That is one of the biggest criteria I had for the camera, because I wanted to be able to bring the camera with me without any hustle, without feeling weighed down. So yeah, weight and the compactness of the camera was a huge priority for me. Something I did not care about a single thing about was features, gimmicks, or whatever you want to call it. Did not care what the camera had inside. I wanted to take pictures, that's all. So if it had amazing autofocus or tracking features, or did not care about it. What I did care about the second was weather sealing, because I live in Sweden and my time is limited in photography. So I wanted to get a camera that I could actually use whenever I wanted to. So weather sealing was also a kind of bigger priority for me, but it's not the biggest. The biggest was definitely the size. And I'm fully aware that both APS-C and full frame have smaller camera bodies nowadays, but the lenses aren't that much smaller. which they are for Micro Four Thirds. So that's kind of how I ended up on the road towards Micro Four Thirds. Because again, size matters. Said it again. So yeah, the OM5 looked perfect on paper. It's small, compact, rugged design, weather sealed, great stabilization, all that good stuff. It was also marketed as a go anywhere, shoot anything travel camera, which I really liked the idea of, even though the kind of adventures I go on is this. So me and my fiance went to Götaplatzens Foto in Gothenburg, and as soon as I held the camera, I knew that this is the one. That's how easy the camera choice for me was in the end. I 100% just knew. They say this about love, you just know. And that's kind of how it was when I chose the camera body. And the OM5 got delivered with the 12-45 f4 Pro, which is great because I've always been a zoom guy. And that lens is actually sitting on the OM1, which I'm recording on right now. So that's actually nice. I've got used of the lens finally again since I went over to primes. So yeah, I've always been a zoom guy because it just makes sense. They're more flexible, they have more range, and there's less risk of missing the shot. But then James Popses come into the picture. I watched a lot of his videos, and I came to one of his videos that called the only true focal length. And basically what he said is, if you measure a full frame sensor diagonally, you will have 43 millimeters, making 43 millimeters the true focal length. But I got curious about my most used focal lengths that are in my favorite photos at that point. So I looked at all my favorite photos at that point again, and all of them were shot between, let's say, like 38 to 50 millimeters. And this became a realization that is pretty much how we see the world in real life, with our eyes. Not ultra wide, not zoomed in, just normal, natural. So the realization was I like to shoot the way I see them in real life. So what do I do after the focal length epiphany? Well, I end up getting the Lumix 20mm f1.7, either loved or hated in the Micro Four Thirds community. Personally, I loved it. I still love it. It's my favorite lens. It's the lens that have shaped my style, if you can call it that. But the more and longer you use something, you start seeing the cracks. And the cracks in this case was autofocus and weather sealing, both of which became a problem the longer I used it. Weather sealing, kinda like this, because I could have used my 12-45 f4 and just put it on 20 millimeters and photograph like that in bad weather. But did I? No. And that's on me. But the autofocus is horrendous. It's known to be slow. So recently I picked up the OM system 20mm f1.4 Pro instead. Same focal length, built like a tank, and impressively fast autofocus. But it's interesting, it's actually a little bit tighter. If I compare, I did it for another video, but I compared 20mm on the Lumix and 20mm on the, well, OM20. And this one is actually tighter. And I'm going to do a little bit more comparisons when I do the technical review between those two lenses. So yeah, that's going to be interesting in the future. Too early to say if this is the one. Not that there are many other options anyway, but yeah. Alright, so this wasn't too advanced at all, actually, which is kind of the point as well. If anything, I just follow a basic priority list. And I would actually recommend you doing the same when choosing gear. Sit down and write it out. What do you need in a camera? Or maybe more importantly, what do you not need? Do you want something small, weather sealed, easy to carry? Or do you care more about image quality, viewfinder feel, or maybe external controls? That list alone can rule out half the cameras out there. And if you're thinking about getting a new lens, do what I did. Go through your favorite photos from the past year and see what focal lengths you're actually using. If there is a pattern, that's your clue. If you're always zoomed in, then it's maybe time to try a longer lens. Or maybe you're always around the same focal length, then a prime would make sense. And if you're all over the place, stick with your zoom. That's working just fine. Once you've been photographing for a while, all of that becomes easier to spot. Anyways, personally, I don't really get excited about gear, especially the specs in my camera. I bought the OM 5 pretty early when I got back into photography back in 2024. Early 2024, so it's been around 1.5 years now. And if I would have done a little bit more research, I could have probably found a second-hand camera that does the same thing that the OM 5 does for me, also cheaper, and minus all the faff. You know, all the features I never use, like handheld high-res or Story AF or focus stacking. I'm sure that someone loves them and uses them daily or close to daily. But for my photography, I haven't found one single time that I've needed them for my photography. So for me, they become kind of irrelevant. I can use them for specific moments, and for those moments, they're nice to have. But for my daily photography, I never use them. But do I regret buying the camera? Absolutely not. The OM 5 makes me want to go out and take photos, and that's kind of the point, isn't it? I've said this before, I want my camera to more or less disappear in my hand. Not literally, of course, that would be concerning. But I want it to become an extension of how I see. I don't want to fiddle with it. I just want to react to what's around me. So the less I have to think about gear, the better. And look, I know that new gear often inspires people or motivates people to go out and shoot more. And if that happens to you, that's great. But for me, it just doesn't. For me, it's just a tool. The new lens I got, it doesn't inspire me. It just fixes the bits that were starting to get in the way. The Lumix already did what this does, but this does it slightly better. Faster autofocus and weather sealed. It's not thrilling. It's just reliable. And sometimes that's exactly what I need. A stable ground, something I don't have to think about. And since we're here, one more last thing, and probably the only actual real important advice here. Only spend what you're genuinely comfortable spending. And if you ever find yourself choosing between a better body or a better lens, always go with the better lens, in my opinion. The lens shapes your photos, the body just takes them. So yeah, I hope this video helped you out a little, at least. If you got any thoughts or tips of your own, how to find the perfect setup, leave a comment down below. I always love reading them. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and consider subscribing. I appreciate it so much. But until next time, have a good day or evening, whenever you're watching this. Out!